I didn't know what led me there. It was 2 a.m. I was in my car parked across from the prison. I didn't know I was driving to the prison until I actually arrived. And I didn't know I was praying until I finally heard my own words repeating over and over: stay solid, stay solid. I've been out of prison for over 5 years, but it's easy to go back. In so many ways, I'm not going back. But sometimes on the street, I walk by somebody and smell jail. And it's like I'm right back inside. I had to pull myself together. Most people who spend any time in prison, we never know when we fell asleep if our dreams will take us back. We wake up screaming and open our eyes, hoping to see that this nightmare is over. We were spat out from the belly of the beast back into the streets, but that beast is now inside our belly, and we do the best we can because you never know what that day will bring. I know I never wanted to be a gang member, never wanted to be associated with drug dealer, never looked up to that stuff. But I ended up putting my energy in the wrong person. In 2002, I was out of high school, working full time at a computer school, going to college in computer science. When I got a call from a guy that I met in my early days, we met in the commissary back in groceries when our parents were in the military. We latched on to each other. We would go to parties together back in high school, and there would be times that we get into fights. I fight his fights, literally fight his fights. Not because I thought he was going to get beat up. I just wanted to show him that you got a brother that's with you and always with you. You know what I'm saying? I guess I always wanted to be like my dad, intense, fight you for looking at him wrong. Same time, he give you everything, loyal, strong, fought with his brothers, for his brothers in the army. When my old friend called, I hadn't seen him in years. But when he showed up, we were right back with each other. Those were the best times of my life. We were inseparable, even dated women that were friends. So he wanted some help with the business. I was all about it. With my computer and accounting skills to make all of the money from the drugs we were selling high. I wasn't planning on getting into the drug trafficking, but I turned from something legit to a throw off for a friend. And of course, well, the love of money. You hear all the time about how addictive drugs are, but we don't talk about how addictive selling drugs is. In that year, 2003, I went from assy to classy, from counting pennies to having rolls of hundreds in my pockets. 1988 Toyota Camry to a 2000 GMC Envoy, from being treated by the world like a nobody to a somebody. I'm just coming out of high school, and there's no longer a teacher or coach asking good questions about what I'm up to, because they know you. They know you want to build something gracious. Do you want drugs involved? Hell no. I didn't want drugs to be involved because I knew it was harming people. But the money, it's just like the drugs. It's an addiction. And because I wasn't selling the drugs myself, I could put it behind me like, okay, I'm not going to worry about the people harming themselves. I'm going to make sure that me and him put our money to the right places where we can do things like we're able to invest in the community. So one morning he calls and tells me that he's getting a little paranoid about the people he's meeting at the Walgreens parking lot. He thinks they're going to rob him. He says, "Can you cover me?" Man, I've been covering him for years, since we were kids. His fights are my fights. Unfortunately, I was arrested. They ran me over in their truck and they put my foot got caught in the axle and almost pulled off. And when they handcuffed me on a gurney, and as I lay in my hospital bed, they interrogated me, trying to get information on him. They didn't care I was in intensive care. I refused to say anything still. And for that lack of information, they pretty much gave me the hammer. I thought by keeping silent, I was saving this life. I saved him, a number of people we work with, from going to prison. I took everything they were trying to charge everybody, took all those cases and put them on me. All on the notion that if he was in the same spot, he would do the same thing. It was only later that I discovered I was set up. The case was all on him, but he knew if I showed up instead of him at the Walgreens parking lot, they put it all on me. I was not charged as no accountant on a state drug case, but labeled. I was labeled a mastermind drug trafficker and sent to federal holding. And that fact is, I was guilty of hiding a major drug scheme. And that was facts. I had misplaced my loyalty and courage on the wrong person for the wrong ends. and being lured into denial by money and the desire for a true brother. I hurt people by selling drugs to my community. That, very much so, I was guilty. But why is it that I can be sent away for a decade on a non-violent drug charge, and yet the DA prosecutors who sent me into that prison of violence and assault are presumed innocent because they know what is going to happen to you in there. They know what's going to happen. I knew nothing about surviving those environments or no damn prison politics. I knew nothing about that stuff, but I did know one thing. If you come attack me, you put me in that center of brutality, try to assault me, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. Not because I wanted to show off. I wasn't into violence for violence. I'm a ball player, a college computer student. I'm just a man-to-man fighter. This is protection. You know what I'm saying? But they sent me into that evil place, and it is crazy in there. 1 minute, there's a group of men standing in a circle. Then, damn, boom, you took an eye out. You know what I'm saying? He got hit with a lock in the sock. You know what's going on in there? It's hell. I don't want my head slammed into a concrete desk. I don't want to be raped. I don't want to kill nobody. But I don't want to be killed. Every chance I got, I was calling my mom crying like, I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. I was on my own in the feds. No gang, no protection. So a few men tried to number me up. They got me in the cell. I looked at all of them. I said, someone's about to get hurt, about to get messed up. But you know, one of them still ran in on me. And by the time he did, I did what I needed to do to survive. And if a corrections officers had not seen enough of what had happened and been willing to speak up for me and say it was self-defense, I would still be in prison to this day for attempted murder. And even though I was determined not guilty, the criminal justice system still took my innocence away because they put me in a position where to survive, I had to stab a man in the neck. And his blood was pouring out my body all over me. All over me. And it should be all over the judge, the DAs, and the prosecutors too. And that's not even the worst of it. That's not even the worst. Do you know how much this system actually kills white, black, Mexican people? Like, kills them mentally. Do you know, by being good kids, whatever, not really that much training, and they get sent to those environments on one mistake, just one. And by sending them to prison, they have already killed someone. But the DAs, prosecutors, judges, they don't get charged for that. And it's not just the inmates. What do you think happens to the correctional officers? At one point, it was their first time seeing it, their first stabbing, their first rape. You watch the new ones, the green ones, how the longer they are out there, the farther away they are from themselves. They become lost too. We are all locked up in the belly of the beast. And when you leave the beast, it is inside your belly too. They point at you, judge you, say, look at that pit bull. He's dangerous. He bites. Look at his prison file. He's a monster. They take no responsibility for throwing you into that pit. No responsibility. Well, I take responsibility for myself and what I have to do to not lose myself or give them an excuse to send me back. And I pray for me and everyone in that prison to stay solid, because we are not their beast. We are unknown to them in mental capacity and ability to adapt. Deep inside of us, we are sharp business owners, multitaskers, entrepreneurs, loyal brothers, strong fathers. It is true. The beast we've been fed may be in our belly, and it is hard control. But with the necessary amount of guidance, power, and love, our true spirit will emerge beyond its teeth. And that spirit is not impulsive. It's not reactive. It's our true purpose. And broken pieces put together by experience, and it gets stronger by the day of new learning. So stay solid. Stay solid. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you, man. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Guillory, and my autobiographical monologue is called Truth, Not Facts. The last time I went to jail, I had been in there for about 18 months while I was fighting my case. I called my mom. I said, yo, Mom, they dropped all the holes I can bond out. You guys want to bond me out? She said, well, let me talk to your sisters and see if we can come up with the money. And she talked to both of my older sisters, and they said, no, Ma, he's up to the same old thing. He's going to get out and go right back to the drugs. So we ain't in it. But my sweet mother said, well, I'm going to come and get you. She went and got a loan, and she came and bonded me out of jail. I was strong in the word, and I meant what I said. I was done with crack. After my mom bailed me out, I went to pick my car up that had been impounded while I was in jail. Right before they arrested me, they had searched my car. I mean, tore it up. They tore it up. I had a nice Cadillac, and they pulled out everything that could be pulled out. And they had found no dope in the car. I was finally arrested for what they had found in my house. I drove my car home. I was slowly putting the insides of it back together when I found the pipe right under the front seat with a big old rock right next to it, clear as day. And I'm thinking, are they trying to set me up? I mean, they had searched my car up and down, even looked in my spare tire, and the dope was right there under the front seat, just as clear as day. I picked up that rock and the pipe, and I put it in my pocket. I said to myself, nope, I'm not gonna do it. But I didn't throw the doggone thing away. I knew I should have just thrown it away, but I didn't. Later on that day, I broke it up and I hit that thing. Man, and boy, did Scotty beam me up. Soon as I got beamed up, here comes Mama. I mean, as soon as I took that hit, not 20 seconds later, she came home and saw me. I saw the tears in those big old brown eyes, and I said, oh, Mom, I bet if you'd have known this, you'd have left my ass in there. And she looked at me with tears in her eyes. She said, no, baby, I still would have come and got you. Sometimes when I tell the story, it still to this day brings up such vibrant emotions, and it just makes me want to weep, just recalling those words. No, baby, I still would have come and got you. Oh my God, you could have kicked me or cussed me out. But that kind of blatant love makes you butt naked, raw, vulnerable, There's no defense. It makes you defenseless. Anything else I could have handled. Come on, bring it on. You're a liar, a failure, an addict. You're worthless, a criminal. Is that all you got? Yeah, come on, I can stand up to that. But love and grace will lay you out butt naked, no clothes on. Oh my God. That was what made me think differently. That was the pivotal point that led me to being drug-free today. That's the thing we got to convey to society. It's when a person least deserves love. That's when they need it the most. And that grace thing, that will give people the 360-degree turn that they need right there. The key is helping people remember their importance, understand their magnificence, and invest in helping them to reach their potential instead of punishing them. But the criminal justice system takes all of our shortcomings and our faults, and it magnifies them. That's all they look at. They take the smallest part of us and make it the biggest part of our existence. When all this good stuff is sitting right there just waiting, it's dormant. It's waiting to grow, but it's never been put in the right environment. And then instead, they send us down a dark tunnel to a place of violence at every intersection. A gladiator school where you learn how to place magazines around your belly in case someone tries to stick you. You learn always to step out of your pants when you sit on the toilet in case you're attacked, because in those kind of places, they get you when you're most vulnerable. And when you act out in that violence, they send you further down into a hole where there are no people, just an overflow of toilets and rats and isolation. If you drop an oak tree seed in a concrete world, it's still alive and vibrant, but it's not going to grow. It's just dormant. But you take that same seed and you drop it in a decent place where there's enough sun and earth and nutrients. You don't even have to plant it. Just put it somewhere where it can possibly grow, and that thing will take off on its own. The fact is, all of us in prison are human beings who committed crimes, but that's not our truth. We are not ontologically criminals. This is not our essence. Instead of helping us return to the full truth of who we are, the criminal justice system takes away our names, gives us DOC numbers, robs us of our dignity and freedom and happiness, and most of all, the potential to be the best selves that we could have been had someone tried to nurture us instead of neuter us. And how can it change as long as the justice system continues to lie about what it is doing to us? They give us a piece of paper that says, the court is sentencing the defendant to incarceration for 10 years of rehabilitation and is fitted towards that sentence. Rehabilitation, my ass. There is no rehabilitation in that place. When you send us to the Department of Corrections, you're essentially making us more incorrect. There's not a sliver of corrections in that place. Those of us telling our stories of the Justice Project are fairly new to this whole idea of restorative justice. But we know that telling the truth and taking responsibility for the harm that we have caused is a big part of it. And we have reflected as a group in our writing, processing on that harm. But we are also asking the criminal justice system itself to sit in this circle with us and hear the ways that we have been harmed, because it itself has been criminal in the name of justice. Thank you.
This poem is called Prison is No Place. In 1704, the first formal slave patrols started in the Carolina colonies. Before that, settlers appointed constables to police Native Americans and protect frontier cities from them. You know, guard the land that was stolen from the ones it was stolen from. Slave patrols and night watchmen became police departments. You need to know that. Because when we see red and blue lights, we see a lynch mob trying to form. We hear that old rumble, the one that would deny us our names. You draw your gun, we see a bullwhip. It's old. The fear, the loathing, the apprehension. Resisting arrest is ancestral logic. Don't let them catch you. Can't let them catch you. We remember running barefoot in the woods, in the swamp, bare feet catching every shard that ever was, running. Don't let them catch you. Can't let them catch you. Let me see your license and registration, the yawp of dogs hot on our heels. Step out of the car, please. Overseers snapping twigs in hot pursuit. Put your hands behind your back, crack of the whip. Put your hands up, the smell of burning flesh. You call it law and order, we call it terrorism. You say, land of the free, then feed us the rotten fruit of capture. The police were fathered by slave catchers, you need to know that. That's an unblessed legacy no matter how you dress it up. Prison is code for plantation, and prison is no place. The toilets don't work. The water ain't clean. You can hear the rats scratching in the walls. Solitary confinement till words leave you. Can't remember simple ones like love, like goodbye. Language is slippery when you don't use it. When nobody speaks to you because everybody is shrieking. When no letters come, language is a graveyard of carrier pigeons. The rotting meat of unsaid things that make you curse God or cleave to him. You give up on sleeping. Wonder if you should make a shiv. A boy last week was murdered in his cell. The COs laughed about it at lunch. Your DOC number replaces your name. Your mama can't make the long bus ride to visit. You're beginning to forget her face. Your commissary is always empty. You barter for cigarettes and time on the phone, tying, wrapping phone books around your waist to avoid being stabbed on your way to the yard. Prison is no place. You hide your feelings there. Can't fall apart there. When you get out, it's the same way. Your family needs you, your people need you, the community needs you. It takes you years to learn how to hold a bruise, how to call it by its name. But you borrow from the lineage of Lazarus, kept your head in the lion's mouth, trying to prove that the cosmic fight of manhood is a dark altar held up by the bones of whoever is strongest. Prison is a skeletal place. Prison is no place. You learned the death rattle religion of solitary cells, the bruised clergy of convicted men, the ones who made a mistake and got pinned to it, the ones who hurt soundlessly, roaring their spite in silence. Prison is no place. You need to know that. Some of us make it out. The raw material of possible, yeah, some of us make it out and unlearn the hurt. You need to know that. How impossible we are and how fastened to history and hope. You need to know that. Though bruised and war-walloped, some of us make it out. A constituency of second chances, running. Don't let them catch you. Can't let them catch you. Running. Free.
La, 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 la. La 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 Imagine there's true justice. I wonder if you can. No separate rules for others. Imagine man is man. Imagine all the people living in harmony. Imagine there is fairness. First time it's ever been. Oh, imagine there's a future. Imagine sin is sin. Oh, imagine all the people living for today. Ooh. You may say that I'm a dreamer, yeah, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday that you can join us, and the world can be as one. Take a moment and close your eyes. I want you to imagine true justice, real liberty and justice for all. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? Use your imagination. Now open your eyes and write that down so that the world can know and we can manifest it for all people. And you can say I'm a dreamer.